trucking. No would be really is a day at the beach.
If a buyer was passing through White River Junction, they could walk into a gallery and they could see art hanging on the wall and they could see a price tag with a name on it and say, oh, they're from here, and feel really good about that. You're buying something that's local to the area that you're visiting or that you live in. But to come to one of these events and have an actual conversation with the artist and learn about their philosophy and learn about the process, where did you come from, where do you plan on going, creating that relationship and that backstory is really important, and it often makes your artwork in your house mean more to you. My name is Finny Trimpe, and I'm the Programming Director for Artistry Community Art Center, and I am one of the co-founders of Community Supported Art Upper Valley. I found community supported art to be something interesting through a New York Times article that was handed to me by Rachel Gross, who is one of our artists this year.
I came across an article in the New York Times about CSA art projects, and I immediately thought of Finny because we had had some kind of conversation about sort of how artists can work collectively to sell their work. And we had just had that conversation, and I found this article, so I emailed her a link, and I wish I could take more credit for it, but really it was just coming upon the article and sending it to the right person.
I didn't want to take on the venture by myself, so I sought out Fiona and Caitlin as partners that I felt like I could work well with and have a strong interest in supporting the arts and artists themselves. Community-supported art is built on a community-supported agricultural model. So basically, the underlying theme of a community-supported agriculture is that a customer gives a farmer upfront money so that he or she can afford to plant and grow their crops. And in return, you get a share of those crops weekly, generally for farms. So the community-supported art is modeled on that same thing. The idea is that we, as the organizers, front an artist a stipend to create a line of art. And then we advertise out to shareholders to buy into that. And then they, at 2 pickup events, receive a share of that crop, of that season's crop. We picked our artists, we hand-selected our artists, and we selected them based on artists that we knew were up and coming and needed the support of this boost in career, and we picked some based on their past experience of being established artists, just so that for the first share we had recognizable names as well as people that we could support in moving forward in their career. Basically what happens is the artist gets a stipend to create 24 pieces, and then we turn around and sell those 24 pieces to the community. And we've broken it down into a peck, 2 pieces, a half bushel, 5 pieces, and a full bushel, 10 pieces. We wanted to make it affordable to all pocketbook sizes. So a peck is 2 pieces for $100, half bushels, 5 pieces for $250, and a full bushel is 10 pieces for $500. And that breaks down to be about $50 per item, which is a very fair price for custom-made, one-of-a-kind artwork. It's not that they're like, oh yeah, I painted these 24 pictures over the winter and that's what I'm going to put in. When they said yes, they agreed to make 24 new pieces of art, and 24 pieces of art specific to this run. So when you're buying into the share, you're buying something unique. People buying in are not choosing their artists and they're not choosing their artwork. So it's not necessarily about getting the opportunity to go and pick your tomato off the vine. It's about getting what you get and learning from that experience. Something that's important to note is that the events are free and open to the public. So you do not have to be a shareholder to attend the events, and we encourage as many people as want to come.
Here's the story of a girl named Sophie who had hired up 3 very lovely girls. All of them had video skills like their employer. They always had a world. Here's the story of a man named Robert who was busy with 3 boys of his own. They were 4 men working all together. They never whine or moan. Till the one day when these people were together, and they knew that this team would be a jam, that this crew must somehow form a workforce. That's the way we all became Video Camp, Video Camp, Video Camp. That's the way we became Video Camp.
The microphones are important, like where they're like. I don't really. What do you mean?
What makes audio good?
Well, first you probably use a microphone, so you can hear things a little better.
Well, I think good audio is audio that
Good, like acoustics around the area, so it's not.
What makes good audio? It should be clear, no static, no buzzing, no nothing like that.
well, if you're getting natural audio, you want to have a good microphone. You can use sort of like call them a shotgun microphone because they sort of are sort of directional.
Mic and headphones.
Use a good mic. You should check it with your headphones. Maybe like a bunch of beeping noises or something like that.
If you yell too loud, it could peak if the levels aren't set right and start crunching up like something like that.
Yeah.
Hi, my name is Dan Davis. I'm really into movies. Really am. To get to the bottom of my love for movies, let's go ask some personal questions about myself. Unless something comes along that completely changes my mind on the perspective of film, or I get an interest in toes or something, I'd say film is basically where it's at for me. I'm basically in love with film. I obsess over film. I think of film like 99% of my time. I mean, sure, it might be an unhealthy obsession in a way, but to me, film is amazing.
How did you develop a love for movies, and at what age were you?
I'd always been fascinated by things that came out of a moving picture, for example. I'd always been fascinated by using cameras, and it was like, the characters, they were coming straight at you. It felt almost real, and it was so entertaining for me. I always looked forward to it, and I remember the experience. I think my first movie I ever went to see was Toy Story, and I was only 2.5, 3 when that came out, and I barely remember the experience, but I was probably amazed.
It certainly sounds like it hit home with you, though, at 2.5. What are the things that you recall during that experience?
Well, it was like, just the way it looked. I mean, you had this character who was completely computer generated, and it looks so amazing. And as an adult, I go to appreciate it more because it just has that feeling for me. It's so emotional. I cry in some of Pixar's movies. And that's what movies resonate with me, is how emotional they are.
Oh, excellent. Now, when it comes to your show, Movie Hole, I mean, you've talked about various subjects like X-Men,
DreamWorks.
and then there was
Marvel.
So, I mean, how do you come up with the topics? And how do you prepare for each show when you do it?
Well, I think about what subject in particular I know a lot about. Like, when it came to X-Men, I just seen X-Men Days of Future Past, so I loved it so much I decided to talk about my admiration for this series. And then when it came to DreamWorks, I thought about animation and how much I love animation. So I thought, Pixar isn't in the timely fashion. I'd just seen How to Train Your Dragon 2, so I thought DreamWorks would be very appropriate.
Nice. Do you have a particular favorite studio or franchise that you like to talk about?
I talked about those three. I'm especially a big fan of Pixar.
I'm a little fella. I don't think that's a little fella.
I think their quality is unmatched by any studio. Their consistent rate.
Syndrome's remote!
No company is really perfect, so in my eye, because obviously it's objectable to what your favorite movie is. But the fun part about it is just discussing it.
You have 4 weeks until you return back to school for your junior year. I mean, what do you feel would be the next focus of a show?
Well, I thought maybe doing a Pixar retrospective, but I didn't know if that was lively in the season, because Pixar isn't releasing a film this year because their Inside Out movie got pushed to next year due to arguments in the set. But then I thought, I would want to do my own sketch show, my own comedy show, just not reviews, comedy. Work with actors, because I have all these scripts and characters that I've created that I've never really played in anywhere but in my head, basically.
When it comes to your passion of film and television, what would be your mission statement?
To just pursue people to watch certain films, I guess. To try and encourage people to push new film geeks, to talk about it. We live for this stuff. Real people who love film, they sleep on film, literally. They have like a DVD under their bed or something, under, their pillow. That's how much they love film. And if those people could get the same kind of a love and appreciation I did, and I've met very few people around here who actually are into film like I am. In fact, they used to ask me questions all the time, and they'd say, "You're amazing." They could never get me. They'd always never stump me. But, in high school. And so, I just it's become my unholy, advisor or something. I'm the, I wish I was the biggest film geek in the world, but I'm not really, because there are people out there who have, especially film critics, who have had years and decades of training and experience with film, that they've seen it all. I've only lived through the age of when film went to digital, which was a few years ago. I lived through that age. I saw DVDs come. I saw the end of VHS, stuff like that. But I didn't live through, when film turned to color, or when color became permanent, or when TV came along. I didn't see when film stream came along. I didn't see the beginning of CGI. I lived through the generation of the computer-generated images, but I can barely remember it.
What would be your final statement on getting people to watch film or to become as interested as you are?
Become one with the film. Think about it. Think about what I said about a film. When I talk about a film, think about how my passions are striving for that film. Do I love that film? Do I think it's okay? Do I hate that film? Do you love that film? Do you hate it? Just go out there. If film's not your interest, it's not your interest. I'm not going to change that. If you're more interested in crane making, for all I know, then so be it. It all just comes down to personal preference, honestly. And that's what I can say about film, is it kind of just gets me.
Why wouldn't you choose to work for an independent radio station?
It's really just keeping in tune with the air personalities that are in the studio and having them live locally in the area. That's a big key part of it. Having an air staff who live in Lebanon, who live in Hanover, White River Junction, who know what their neighbors are doing, what their community is doing, and having them connected to the community. That's the biggest thing you can do really with any radio station, but the river is what we really try to expand upon with that. I would say the Upper Valley is really open to all genres of music. It's an area, and I've worked in many radio markets where a market might be very specific to country music, and that's what the market likes to listen to. And some markets you go to, they're more apt to listening to pop music. Whereas the Upper Valley, very in tune with all different genres of music. You might have somebody who's a country music listener that tunes on the river because they love hearing this song that we played an hour ago. And also the Upper Valley is very big on local musicians and really helping out the local music scene. That's what I love about here, is that it is a music scene where everybody's helping out everybody. And that's the great thing about this area.
What caused the change with the fall of the corporate radio station was that lack of local focus. You cannot have your DJ in Texas streaming the content into a radio station in Lebanon, New Hampshire, and actually have it connect to the people. That's where all our DJs are here in the Upper Valley, and we know the area, we know what's interesting, we know when the farmers market is, and those are things that a major corporate entity just misses. Now, a lot of people have Sirius XM radio in their car now, and even you watch that is failing. It's actually failing because while you can listen to whatever genre of music you want, it lacks in that local focus, and I think people are finally figuring out that that's where the heart is. That's what's important.
A group of Vermont filmmakers got together to make a 6-part movie about their state.
And action!
The Vermont movie is about highways and land use. It's about eugenics. It's about people who live off the grid, who generate their own power, generate their own food. It's about geology and geography. Also,
the story of Romaine Tenney from Ascutney.
It's about revolution and workers. It's about the political struggles in Vermont. It's about hippies. Race. What else is it about?
Vermont Yankee Nuclear Power Plant.
Participating in local government and town meetings. Yeah, it's about the evolution of communities in Vermont.
What is Vermont?
After they finished, they realized that some very important voices were missing. Your voices.
I'm gonna stay up there. Slaughter animals. I'm not gonna. His legs
This
are building.
is the stock that you cut.
So now these Vermont filmmakers are getting together to sponsor a contest to hear your voice. What are your thoughts about this state? What is missing? What intrigues you? What are you passionate about? What are you proud of?
That's right. My idol, Martin Luther King Jr. has said.
It's your turn.
What we heard loud and clear in community.
And to get involved, contact your public access television station. Talk to a teacher in your high school. Speak with your film or history professor. Just don't miss this opportunity.
I ask one thing of you. Please stand up with me. Stand up. Stand up for equality. Stand up for the fearful. Stand up for our future. Stand up for our families. Stand up for love. Stand up, Vermont. Stand up.
Folks.
Pick up a camera. Make a short film about Vermont from your point of view and send it to us by April 10th, 2015.
hakika nitarudi. Najua wanimisi, najua wanimisi, mpaka ukasizi. Watu wanajua eti nimekukimbia, sija kukimbia, bali niliondoka. Watu wakupenda kwa jinsi ulivyo.
I'm Carl Wallen. I'm the founder of the Thorstone Athletic Club. It was founded in the year 2010. I had retired from coaching at Dartmouth in 2009, and I wanted to do something to give back to the people in the Upper Valley. Everyone had always been really nice to me, and the club is a Viking club, and the motto is big risk, big reward. We have over 50 members in our club, and everyone who's in the club has to compete. And we compete in Olympic lifting, powerlifting, and throwing. We do all of the throws, and for the lifting we train at the CCB, and for the throwing we train at the Elks, and the Elks Club has been great with us, allowing us to do our training and running meets here. We also have one other facility over in Norwich. Our oldest member is 90, and we have about 4 members in their 80s. We have a woman who's 80 in the club, and everybody else is in their 70s and 60s and 50s, and the youngest member is 26. I think it's good for people to lay it in the line. Nobody does it anymore. Everybody's afraid of a competition. They do great in the gym, or they can, do great and tell people they're, about all the wonderful stuff they do in practice. But there's nothing like getting involved in a meet where you have to produce, and either you do it or you don't. And I think that it's something that's very important as you get older. If you start competing, you will start getting a little bit more competitive, and I think we all need to be competitive to live. And each time you compete, you want to better what you've done in the past. So I think it's a very positive thing to be doing. If anyone would be interested in competing, you can call me. My name is Carl Wallen, and I'm in the phone book in Lebanon, or you can contact me at the CCB, and there's no charge. We have shirts, and the shirts are Scandinavian. They're the color of the Swedish flag, and the name of the club is named after our grandson, Torsten, and it's on the sleeves. And also on the right sleeve we have the American flag, and we'd love to have anyone. The shirts cost $12, that's what it cost me, and all the coaching and everything is free, and I think people would really enjoy it if they get involved in it.
Jake Torrey from Honey Locust Farm in Bradford.
I've been farming since I started raising a family. This is my 34th season here.
sell pastured pork, pastured chicken, and naturally grown produce. And the Norwich Market's one of the biggest markets in the area. You know, we can offer the same prices or better prices as the supermarket. And our food is picked, like I picked most of this morning or last night, compared to stuff that's been dried out and shipped across country or imported. I think it's big benefit to the customer.
We know some of the vendors, so it's nice to catch up with them. You know, I like to know where my food comes from. I like to support my neighbors who are raising it. I like to know that the quality is tops, you know, that things are as fresh as I can get. And when it comes to meat, knowing that the meat's been raised in a responsible manner and not coming from a questionable place.
Well, this farmers market's really well established, so we've got such a history of information and consumers learning from our customers. We have an advantage, and since we are one of the oldest markets in the state, we have that Saturday slot, which is a great shopping day for customers. So it's a real special situation for us here.